Good morning, Dr. Crosby. This is Jyothi Potluri. I'm excited to share my reflections from chapter 5 and 6 of Every Teacher a Leader. I'll be answering all our experience using examples from my classroom and leadership experiences as a special education teacher. Let's get started. Question number 1. Tips for dealing with change. So, the first question, tips for dealing with change. I think we can all agree that change is constant in education, whether it is new curriculum, new leadership, or even just new students with different needs. I picked 3 tips that I have leaned on heavily in my own practice. First one is learn from previous experiences. This one really grounds me. I reminded myself that I have been through tough transitions before, like when we shifted to virtual learning during the pandemic. At that time, it felt overwhelming, especially trying to adapt materials for my students with autism. But we figured it out. I created visual schedules, simplified digital assignments, and worked closely with families to make it manageable. That experience taught me that I am more adaptable than I thought, and I am trying to remind my colleagues of that when new changes come our way, we have done hard things before. We can do them again. Now, the second one, celebrate small wins. This is huge in special education. Progress can be slow and non-linear, so I have learned to celebrate every little step. I remember one student who finally used an AAC sentences frame independently after weeks of modeling. We all clapped and his face just lit up. That moment reminded me that change doesn't have to be dramatic, it's to be meaningful. Recognizing those small victories keeps morale high and helps the team stay motivated. Now, the third one is build collaborations. I'm a big believer in collaboration. When our school introduced a new behavior tracking system, I teamed up with 2 other teachers to create visual support and shared templates. We meet weekly to troubleshoot and refine our approach. That sense of shared purpose made the change feel less like a mandate and more like a mission we were tackling together. So, those are my top 3. Reflection on past, celebrate the present, and lean on your people. Response to question number 2, parental involvement success story. For this question, I choose type 2 communicating from Epstein's 66 types of parental involvement. This type focuses on building strong two-way communication between school and home, and I have seen firsthand how powerful that can be. Let me tell you about one of my students from last year. He was a bright, creative child in my ASD Level 1 classroom, but he struggled with transitions and expressive language. From the beginning of the year, I noticed that his parents were not very responsive. Emails went unanswered and they didn't attend our first PTA meeting. At first, I admit I felt a little discouraged. I wondered if they were discouraged or overwhelmed, but I paused and thought maybe the way I am communicating isn't working from them. So I decided to try something different. Instead of formal emails, I started sending short, friendly text messages. Just little updates like, your son used his AAC board to request a snack today, and he did a great job sorting by coloring during math centers. I also started snapping quick photos of his work like completed sorting math or proud smile after finishing a task, I would send those along with a positive note. I also created a simple visual progress chart on Google Slides. It had icons and color coded bars showing how he was doing with his goals, like using sentence frames, following routines, and participating in group activities. I updated it weekly and shared the link with the parent. At first, I did not hear much, but then about 2 weeks in, I got a reply. Thank you so much. I didn't know he was doing all this. That message meant the word to me. After that, the parent started replying more often. They asked questions, shared things that were working at home, and even sent me a video of him practicing his sentence starters during dinner. When our next IEP meeting came around, they showed up and they were engaged, prepared, and full of ideas. That didn't happen overnight, but it was a reminder that communication isn't just about sending information, it's about building trust. It's about meeting families where they are around finding ways to connect that feel human and respectful. This experience really brought Epstein's type 2 is life for me. It showed me that when we communicate with warmth, consistency, and creativity, we can turn a quiet parent into a powerful partner. And for students like mine who need a strong homeschool connection, that can make all difference. Question number 3. Direct leadership style. Let's talk about leadership. As I described in chapter 6, this style is very top down. Decisions are made by the leader and everyone else is expected to follow without much input. I have experienced this firsthand and it is left a lasting impression. A couple of years ago, I attended a district-wide professional development session led by Central Office Administrator. From the moment we walked in, it was clear that this was going to be a my way or the highway kind of meeting. The facilitator had a rigid agenda, spoke for nearly the entire session, and didn't invite questions or discussion. We were told exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to submit documentation. It felt like we were being managed, not led. At the time, I was still relatively new to my role, and I remember feeling frustrated and a little disheartened. I had ideas, I had questions, but there was no space for my any of that. The tone was authoritative and the message was clear compliances over collaboration. Now, to be fair, there were some positives. The expectations were crystal clear. We knew that it was expected and the session moved quickly. For some teachers, especially those who prefer structure, that kind of clarity can be helpful. But the downside were significant. There was no room for differentiation, no acknowledgement for unique needs of special education classrooms or the realities we faced day to day. Teachers left feeling unheard and morale took a hit. I remember a colleague saying, I feel like a cog in a machine. That stuck with me. Reflecting on that experience now, I realize how much it shaped my own leadership style. I never want any team to feel like their voice don't matter. Even when decisions need to be made quickly, I try to build space for feedback, questions, and shared ownership. Direct leadership might get things done fast, but it often misses the deeper opportunity to build trust, creativity, and long term buy in and in education. Especially in special education, those things matter just as much as efficiency. Question number 4, facilitative leadership style. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about facilitative leadership. This is the style I really admire and try to practice myself. One of the best example I have seen was during a recent PLC meeting at Pharr Elementary. Our instructional coach started by asking us, "What's working in your classrooms right now?" That one question opened the floodgates. We shared strategies, celebrated wins, and even brainstormed solutions to common challenges. She didn't dominate the meeting, she guided it. We broke into small groups, code designed formative assessments, and left with tools we could actually use. It felt empowering. The type of leadership benefits are everyone felt heard, we learned from each other, the solutions were tailored to our real needs. The challenges are it took more time, sometimes the conversation drifted, and few voices dominated. But overall, it was worth it. Facilitative leadership builds trust, encourages innovation, and makes people feel like they're part of something bigger. I have started using this approach in my own team meetings, rotating facilitators, using open ended prompts, and making space for reflection. Coming to the closing part, thank you for this opportunity to reflect. These chapters helped me think more clearly about how I lead, how I connected with families, and how I support change. I'm excited to carry these insights forwarded as I continue growing in my role and supporting my team. I also want to sincerely thank Dr. Crosby and Dr. Sexton. Their videos, responses gave me the clarity and encouragement I needed. And because of that, I recently completed my reevaluation meeting with confidence and success. It was a meaningful step forward compared to last year, and I am truly grateful for their support. Thank you so much.